As a gardener, if there's one thing that I would be known for, it would be germinating seeds. My friends lovingly call me the germinator. This time of year is my favorite in the garden because I get to germinate hundreds of seeds. Now, I don't have a greenhouse and I don't have grow lights, but I do have a couple little secrets that I do. And I want to share those with you so you could be 100% successful at growing all different kinds of flowers and vegetables and whatever you decide to grow. Hi, my name is Sonia with Suburban Gardening. Today we're going to be planting hundreds of seeds. This is so much fun for me. I'm also going to share with you a website that is absolutely no nonsense. You can go on there and see what your frost dates are, and they actually tell you what is the perfect month in your area to plant your seeds. There are several different types of seeds, and it's very obvious what they are. You've seen them. There are small seeds and there are large seeds. There are seeds that need to be planted in the cold, and there are seeds that need to be planted in the warm weather. So we're going to break that down today, and we're going to start with the small seeds that need a little bit of chill, because that's what's going on right now in my neighborhood. And we'll go over each one so it'll be perfectly clear how you can apply this in your own garden. This is just a small part of my collection of seeds, but this is what we're going to be using today, and I'm going to show you what I consider a big seed and I consider a small seed. But I wanted to show you some plants that I grew from seeds. These are snapdragons, and the seeds on these things are tiny, tiny little seeds, but you get this beautiful big plant. This is an artichoke that I grew from a seed. I started this in September. It's just been trying to make it through the winter time, but this is a relatively small seed as well. So there are a lot of different things you can put seeds in. These are sort of fancy little ones where you can buy them separately, and then they have a dome that go on top. These are great if you're going to be putting them on a windowsill because it comes with a catch basin and the water won't leak out into your house. Today, what I'm going to be using are just these 6-packs. I had plants that came in these and I just saved them, and I'm going to be repurposing these, reusing them today. There's also the potting mix that we're going to be using. Now, this is actually seed starting potting mix. I highly recommend it. It's a sterile potting mix, and you will avert a lot of problems if you use this one. You'll see the cells I'm going to be planting in, they're kind of small. So this is actually going to go a very, very long way. But there's one other container. Let me grab it. If you don't have any of this kind of fancy stuff, but you have one of these, I actually had grapes in here. This is also something that you could use to plant seeds in. I'm going to show you how to do it today. This has holes in the bottom and holes in the top. It's like its own little greenhouse. So this is an option too if you don't have all of these other kind of things. When I talk about small seeds and large seeds, I just wanted to give you an idea of exactly what I mean. These are nasturtium seeds, and they're quite large, very easy to handle. There's no problem with these whatsoever. But let's say we're talking about maybe a California poppy seed. These things are tiny little seeds. They even come in a little bag because they're so small. The carrot seeds right here, also very, very tiny. So all of these small seeds take a little bit of extra care, and that's what we're going to be focusing on in this video. This is seed starting soil, and as you can see, it's really dry. So I'm going to need to put some water in here because our little seeds are going to be getting their roots going, and they're going to be looking for some water. Look at how thirsty the soil is. Now, we don't want it soaking wet, but we don't want it dry by any means. Now, I've got the soil all perfect. It's not soggy, but it's definitely damp. And the reason why we want to do this is because when I go to water these seeds, I want the water to hold onto all of these fibers. If this was dry, it would just go right through, and then the seedlings would not get any water. There are 72 cells inside of this little pack that I bought at the home improvement store. They're very, very small, so this is only meant for small seeds. I do not recommend putting big seeds in here. They will outgrow these long before you could even get them in the ground. So basically all I'm going to do is I'm going to fill these up. I'm going to push it down in there. I've gone through and I made a small dent in each one of these little cells, and that's where I'm going to drop the seeds down inside. These cells are very small, and I'm not going to be putting more than 1 or 2 seeds in each cell. These are the seeds that we're going to be working with today. We have a calendula, which is a type of a marigold, and I need some cover crop on my hill that has some color. So this was recommended to me by a friend, and I don't even know where these seeds came from, but we're going to definitely try them. Milkweed is what attracts monarch butterflies, and right now I'm trying to start a butterfly garden on my hill, so this is going to go great. This is actually what the monarch butterflies lay their eggs on, and it's what the little caterpillars eat. So this is the only milkweed that they eat, and so I definitely want to have that in my garden. Now, echinacea is something that I've been trying to grow for years. I've never had any success, so I'm going to try it again. It's purpura echinacea. It's the kind that you can make echinacea tea with, and it also attracts pollinators, so very happy about that one. Lupine is actually not really good in my zone, but during the cold time right now, it's early March, we actually can get some lupine to do quite well. They'll melt during the summertime, or I'll take them and put them in the shade, but they're absolutely gorgeous and we love them in our garden. A couple of things I'm going to be growing for my herb garden are some thyme, some lavender, which I've never had success with, but I'm going to keep trying. Basil we use all the time, absolutely love it. This is a type of a petunia that we're going to be growing, and dill. One of the things about dill, I noticed that it's already come up in my garden, so it's definitely going to do well. And then these are alyssum. Alyssum seeds are absolutely tiny, tiny little seeds, but they're such a beautiful addition to any garden. So that is the roundup for today. Now, I could not find my pen that I use to mark my identification tags with, so I don't recommend a Sharpie. If that's all you have, go ahead and use it, but it will fade over time. So when I find my regular garden marking pen, I'll go through here and mark over these so they won't fade.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young, it has just begun, as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky just to...
Teeny tiny little seeds. I'm going to try and only drop a couple in each seed cell there. It looks like I probably dropped about 5 seeds down in there, and I don't need that much alyssum, but I'm going to go ahead and keep them like this. Remember, on the back of these seed packages, there is everything you really need to know. I know it doesn't look like enough information, but it totally is. So it's going to tell me how I need to plant it, and that I don't really need to cover it up. I just need to press it in. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my finger and maybe just press a little bit of soil around. Remember, I'm going to put a dome over these. They're going to be like in a little greenhouse. So they're going to be just perfect like that. For the echinacea, These are actually coated seeds, and the coated seeds don't last as long as the seeds that are not coated. And the date on here is from 2023. So I think they're going to be all right. But I noticed that coated seeds only last a year or two, and the germination rate goes down every year. So I'm going to go ahead and put a couple of these in each cell. One thing about the coated seeds is they're very easy to see and they're easier to handle, and that is why they do them this way. So I have 12 here, and I'm going to go ahead and stop with the coated seeds, and I'm going to get out another seed pack and try that one as well. I really like this brand, this Botanical Interest of seeds, and today we're using the Burpee as well, and I think they're both very reliable seeds. But these are not coated, and I'm going to do 12 more of these. Like I said, I really want a lot of echinacea, and I haven't had a lot of luck with it in the past. So I'm going to go ahead and put a couple in each one of these cells. Now these are a little bigger seeds than the alyssum, so I'm going to put a little bit of dirt on top of these. So I'm going to push these down in here, but I also want to cover them with a little bit of soil, not too much. The bigger seeds will take a little bit of soil, but be sure to check the back of your seed packet because that will give you a lot of good information. So then I know I did 1, 2, 3, and 4, so my next one would be here. And we're going to do the narrow leaf. I'm going to start with the Botanical Interest. I was having so much trouble finding these seeds that I actually ordered some online. We're going to plant those today too and see how they go. These are pretty good sized seeds, I'd say. So these say to sow outside 2 to 4 weeks before your average last frost. So our average last frost has already passed. So these ones aren't going to be worried about the chill in the air whatsoever. I'm really excited to have these in the garden because I want to attract all types of pollinators. I also recommend you guys hold on to your seed packs because you might want to go back and look, and if they're not coming up, maybe they'll tell you how long it takes to germinate and that kind of thing. Next up are the calendula. So this is what I would consider a bigger seed. So I'm just going to plant 1 row of those because these guys are going to come up pretty fast. 1, 2, 3. Just 2 per cell on this one because these are pretty big. I wanted to tell you about these seed packs. I got these from a place called Swallowtail Garden. I highly recommend you guys check that out. They have seeds that you normally can't get at the nursery even, or even at your home improvement store. But I grew geraniums and several different things from them last year, and they are beautiful. They're still in my garden, and I was really happy with the germination rate. Now this says that it's a 50 pack of pelleted seeds. So these pelleted seeds, they're fresh, they're brand new this year, and I want to be super careful because these are tiny, tiny little seeds. The great thing about these seeds, you can see, is that they're yellow. And I'm just going to use my fingernail to drop a couple of them down in there. You guys have all seen petunia plants. They get pretty big. I've seen people use tweezers to do this with, but I find that a little bit laborious. And thank goodness they gave me 50. Okay, just a couple more. And I love these little containers that they put the seeds in. Alrighty, so we have a couple in there. And a couple in here. These are a special color. They're going to be a rose color. I'm very excited about them. They're just going to add so much to the garden. And it says to press into the soil but do not cover. So that's just what we're going to do. Tiny, tiny little seeds. Now, we use a lot of basil to make pesto with. We absolutely love it. My husband's really good at making pesto. So I am going to put quite a few down in here because they're so small. Probably about 4. And I'm going to move them around in there a little bit so they're not so close. Remember that I'm going to be separating these and putting them into a bigger container so they can each have their own container. Whatever you have for watering, I think it'll work out just fine. People get special nozzles and things like that, which are really fun, but you don't really need that. I like to have stuff like that, but I don't really need it. What I like to do is I like to pour the water on the plastic part of the tray. You can see that it gets down in there. When these start to grow a little bit bigger, and they're very delicate, these little tiny seeds are very delicate, this is how I'll water them. I'll just put the water on this side of the tray, and then that way they'll get watered just fine. Now also, let's not forget, let me show you one more time. This is sitting in its own little container down there. So not only is it catching the water, but you could water it from the bottom if you really wanted to. And that would keep, when the delicate seeds come up, you can water it that way as well. I'm going to be putting a dome over here, so these are going to be staying nice and wet because the dome will keep it from all the water from drying out. These guys are ready. I promised you guys a website that's going to make your life so much easier, and it's called frostdate.com. I'll put it up on the screen so you can write it down. I use this all the time. All you have to do is open up frostdate.com, put in your zip code, and it'll tell you what zone that you're in. And that way you'll be able to know what month is exactly right for whatever you want to plant. Look up tomatoes, look up sunflowers, look up anything you want. Just scroll down and it's all there. So I am not affiliated with this website in any way, shape, or form, but I use it a lot. So check it out, you guys, and hopefully it'll help you guys with your seed planting. We're going to be planting in this little grape container, but I wanted to just say something really quick. If you only have potting soil and you don't have seed starting soil, that's okay. The thing about potting soil is that that's a little too heavy. So what I've done is I've added some peat moss, and the peat moss will really lighten it up quite a bit. And the other thing that I'm going to add is a little bit of perlite. Now the perlite will also lighten it up, but it also helps it with the water retention. So I'm going to mix those all in, and now I've just made my own seed starting mix. All right, I've got this all mixed together really nicely, and it's pretty light. It's a nice fluffy soil. It's nice and damp. So basically all you need to do is just fill up your container. Don't have to fill it all the way to the top, better if you don't. Notice I didn't add any fertilizer. We'll do that later when the seeds are already up. And I'm going to put in some butterfly weed. I'm trying to start a butterfly garden, and I'm really excited about it. So I keep trying to put all these different butterfly bushes. Now I'm going to put all of these seeds in here. I guess maybe there's 20. And I'm just going to sprinkle them all around. I'm only going to cover it up just a small amount. The seeds are tucked in there, so nice. Now I'm just going to water this in. And I'm going to put the lid on. I will make a tag and put it down in there because you know I'm going to forget what I put in here. Now you have just made your own little greenhouse. Teeny tiny little seeds. These cell packs are a little bit bigger than the last ones I was using, so I'm going to put a few more in here. I think about 5 or 6. That way, if all of them don't germinate, I'll have success. The lavender is just press into the soil and finished. Dill seeds are super cool looking and they're not quite as small. So I'm just going to be, now I know these are going to do great, so I'm going to put, I don't know, 5 or 6 in each cell. These seeds are from last year, so I don't know what the germination rate's going to be. I don't want to cover them too much. This is probably even less than 1/4 of an inch. I just want to make sure they're all the way covered. These lupine seeds are great. I think you could probably soak those before you put them in, but I'm not too worried about it because I always keep my soil nice and moist. So I'm going to put 2 of these in each one. Actually, these seeds are from 2020. Oh boy. I'm going to go ahead and just put a lot of seeds in one. We'll open this new pack. This is much newer. There we go. I've had a little experience with the lupine before. I know they're very easy to transplant. I'm gonna just push them down in the soil a little bit. Good to go. This is just the beginning of seed germinating season for me, and I'm so excited about it. I'll be out here every couple of weeks, every couple of days, planting new seeds, and I'm going to bring you along for that because this is the most fun part. You can acquire so many plants and have a beautiful garden just by starting seeds. So I want you guys to be super successful. The trick that I use to keep these seeds going without having a greenhouse and without having any grow lights is I put them on a dolly. And what I do with this dolly is I wheel it into my garage because my garage stays about 65, 70 degrees at night. And then I'll wheel them back out here in the morning around 10 o'clock when the temperatures have risen a little bit and I can put them in the sunshine. This has worked for me for years and I hope you can figure out a way that'll work for you. Maybe you don't have a dolly and you can just pick them up and put them in the garage or inside the house and then bring them out in the daytime. I know it's a little trouble, but once these seeds start germinating, it's totally going to be worth it. There's always so much to talk about in the garden, and I could talk about germinating seeds all day long. But there's another video coming up, part 2, and we'll talk about it some more. So thanks for stopping by, you guys. I'll see you next time.